and welcome to Strawn on the west coast of Tasmania, one of the overnight stops for one of Australia's great tarmac rallies. This is a motor enthusiast's dream. You've got nearly 300 cars, 2,000 kilometres of competition over 5 days on closed roads. I'm Samantha Stevens and this is Targa Tasmania 2009, the ultimate tarmac rally. As the people of Strawn flock to the street party behind me and the competitors get a chance to unwind after 4 days of tough competition, we can take a look back at days 1 and 2.
The spirit of Tasmania birthed and triggered the start to a week-long motoring event. It has seen sponsored drive days and press conferences ahead of some hot rally action at the Temco Prologue. Jim Richards was the fastest around the prologue, but not the most spectacular. On day 1, the field was waved away from the Country Club Resort, making its way around the north of Tassie through the Tamar Valley and the northwest. It wasn't all that great for me, however. Our car had a little bit of an accident. My event was over, but lots of others were able to keep having fun. In the modern field, Tony Quinn and Naomi Tillett put their hands up as the ones to watch. There were a couple of Lamborghinis chasing them, however, and of course Jim Richards and Barry Oliver were also keeping pace. In the classics, Queenslander Ben Wooster and Tasmanian Tim Kalanek were surprise leaders, driving the wheels off their 1990 Skyline. The guys have had a pretty scary ride. Last year's champs, Rex Broadbent and Michael Godhere, started right off the pace but blitzed them on day 2. It's possibly the most exciting Targa so far. No one can say this event is predictable. That brings us up to day 3. The toughest tarmac rally in the world is set for an exciting second chapter. Day 3 of the event heads northwest. It's the shortest in Targa, but still has 64 kilometres of competitive action. The field heads north to Devonport, with 3 stages ahead of a street stage around the city. The afternoon section gets tough. Paluna, Mount Claude and Laina are the biggest stages to test the crews.
The field begins its climb into the mountains on day 3. An overnight downpour leaving the roads slick and slippery. Just another test for the 250 cars that remain in this marathon event. For Rex Broadbent and Kevin Weeks, both currently sitting second in their categories, the 8 stages that lay ahead are make or break. The leaders of the classic and modern competitions, Ben Wooster and Tony Quinn, have challengers breathing down their necks. Drivers and navigators must now be in unison. Pace notes need to be called precisely. Each corner negotiated perfectly. Leg 3's first sprint is Targa Stage 19, just 4.4 kilometres through high plains in the state's central north. In the classics, Tasmanians David Cooper and Brad Sheriff are ever looming threats to the leaders while it stays dry. On the greasy road, their A9X Tirana struggled. Day 3 had claimed its first victim, but it wouldn't be the last. Tony Alford in the 08 GTR, replicating Cooper's Targa stage exit. The excitement continued on the Devonport Street stage, the easiest trial of the event. Philip and John Blake in the Fiat Abarth, however, still managed to get it so very wrong. Rex Broadbent and Michael Godhere were determined. Their rally was gathering momentum, the car they were chasing showing signs that perhaps their campaign was going to be over sooner rather than later. This off-road jaunt through a potato farm by Worcester and Kilhannock cost them a lot. 25 seconds, the lead, and the repair work on 2 sections of farm fencing. In true action film fashion, this was not going to be enough to stop the 1990 skyline. Battered, bruised, but definitely not beaten, Worcester and Kilhannock laid down the fastest times across Paloona, Mount Claude and Leanna, snatching the lead straight back.
And 8 right.
Bill Pye and co-driver Grant Geelan were also making their mark in the afternoon, faster than the Broadbent Goodyear Porsche on several stages. In the showroom section of Targa, Greg Johnston continues to lead the Mazda 3 MPSs of Reeves and Bates. Reeves only making up 4 seconds in the Evo 9.
Straight over
Tony
crest.
Quinn had seen his challengers edge ever closer on day 2. Day 3
250.
would require Quinn to be confident and consistent. Jim Richards was the man to watch. He started the day just 3 seconds from the lead in 3rd place. He and Barry Oliver would know where to push hard. As the day wore on, the wet roads were drying, and Richards now had the advantage of his powerful GT2 Porsche. Kevin Weeks and Rebecca Klunkhorn's magnificent fire-breathing black Lamborghini started where they'd left off the previous day, cleaning the first stage and drawing level with Quinn and Tillett. Paloona Dam is part of Tasmania's hydropower network. It hosts Targa Stage 23, a 16k climb into Tasmania's Central Mountain Range, a stage that would prove pivotal in this Targa. It was the first stage using what is known as a floating base time. None of the crews are aware of what time penalties may accumulate until the last car is completed. The time of the fastest competitor becomes the time that all other crews are measured by. Jason and John White, currently 4th in the modern section, found themselves on home turf. But without their satellite navigation pace notes, it was to be old school rallying for the pair.
Right 6.
Their time shocked everyone. The white-hot Lamborghini was 8 seconds faster than anyone else, launching them closer to the lead. The Paloona stage continued to define this year's rally. Jim Richards and Barry Oliver knew they now had to push for the lead, but it wasn't to be. In 17 years of Targa competition, it was the first time that Jim Richards had crashed out.
Just hit a little earth bank and we're only probably going about 50k, 60k, and just enough to damage the radiator. One small indiscretion in 17 years isn't too bad, I suppose.
Richards off was a shock to all competitors and Targa fans, a warning to drivers that the grueling Targa course has no respect for experience or ability. The event across all competitions was wide open.
Well, it's certainly anybody's rally to win, and it's been an exhilarating ride from the East Coast over to the West. We'll catch up with more highlights from day 4 after the break.